Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Less Music, More Music live stream. And tonight we have with us French Leave,
Bonjour.
which which is Chris,
Yep.
Richard, and Ollie. I don't know if you're aware, but we have a big team of researchers that try and find out some information on the bands for us before we do the interviews. And
Well, you found my dad.
Surprise, surprise.
After 15 years.
And I've been told that you're called French Leave because you're all deserters from the Foreign Legion.
That would be a better...
I'm probably old enough.
It's because we had 100 names on a piece of paper and that was the best one, so you can imagine what the worst ones are.
I think we heard about
Yeah, you
that
heard
from
that
Ollie a
one.
little
I
earlier.
can't tell you
That's
some of them.
what time is it? It's too early.
It's
After
before
9.
the watershed. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you very much for coming
Thanks
along.
for having us.
I've seen you obviously play quite a few times, so I'm looking forward to hearing some songs from you.
Cool.
The band's been going, what, about 18 months?
About that now, yeah.
Yeah, we had our 1 year anniversary together at the festival. We played a festival the other weekend, last weekend, and that was our first gig was back a year ago at that festival. So we had our first year, so probably about 18 months with
we've been together,
Yeah, it's probably about right actually. Yeah.
And how did you get together?
I was going to say we put an advert in the local classified paper looking for people with similar attractions, and then we tried it the proper way, and we put an advert out, didn't we?
I think
really? We've been together in a recent band, and
I was in a band with a drummer that joined a band with Rich. They needed a second guitarist, so I jumped ship. And then some people left, which left me and Rich, and then we got Ollie. So from the sea above we made French Leave. So and yeah,
it just worked quite well very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. We
Very similar tastes, and
yeah.
That's interesting because when I was talking to you at the bar at the Soundhouse a few weeks ago, you were talking about how when you kind of launched, you had quite a few tunes to start with, didn't you? Were you able to put those together quite quickly?
we did. We were quite conscious of the fact that we wanted it to be a new band, and we didn't want to dwell on anything old that we'd done. Really, there was a couple.
We
of tracks
tried
that
to
we
use some songs that were from the last band,
Yeah.
but we quickly decided it wasn't a good idea.
It just didn't work.
Ollie
really.
came with a few ideas, electronic ideas, which we messed around with in the practice room, and we kind of threw together 6 songs to play this festival.
It was
And,
kind of gave us a deadline, didn't it? And we sort of got on with it, but it took us about 2 months before to start finding something that we were sort of happy with.
But from that deadline, we kind of started to develop our own little niche, didn't we, I
that's
think,
it,
with the ideas that you had. And
Yeah.
And how would you describe your music? I noticed on Facebook, I think you call it indie electronic alternative.
No idea. It's not even that
Just
out. It's
listed
not even that
everything we
out
possibly
there
could.
music. It's just I think it's because we're all into different music, so we came to like some form of compromise, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
happened. I was happy with the reverby guitar sound. Rich liked
I was
like, a
dragged
hard
up through the
bass line.
90s and the Pixies and stuff like
And
that.
Ollie likes electronics, British
newer
indie type stuff. So
yeah,
I think it's
poppy stuff.
we all just come to a bit of a compromise, and that's where we lie in the middle.
And when you say it's a compromise, does that mean you're not entirely happy with it individually, but as a
No, I think it worked well.
I'd say at the start, when we first start writing songs, I think so. I think Ollie will say, "Don't like that." Rich will say, "Don't really like that," and then it comes. You have to compromise a little bit, and then we
didn't
get
like
to the point
anything.
where we're all fairly happy.
yeah.
And by that time, we're all sick of hearing the song, so you no longer listen to it as a song anymore, and it becomes less enjoyable anyway. I think your own songs.
That's interesting because I've asked quite a few bands that. Do you get tired of your own songs eventually? Because obviously you practice them and then you play them live. You actually find that you do get tired of them?
There's some songs I must admit I prefer playing more than others,
Yeah.
and they get quite into playing really. But then there are some where you.
But then, like an opportunity like this, it
Oh, it just
revitalises
strip it back.
sort of.
This has
Yeah.
been really good because we'd never have done this, and I think it made us play the songs in a different way and think about them a bit differently. So it has breathed a little bit of life into some songs that I'm pretty tired of playing. But
You almost mumbled that.
I think we've been together like gigging a year, and we finally got a half-hour set that's like we're fairly happy with. So now we've got that set, we're just kind of not overplaying it, but we're playing it a lot while we're trying to write new songs. So we've moved on a little bit, but you're still playing
But it's
things
still-
that
I
you've
think it's
moved on
still
from. So it is it's a
better.
bit strange.
I
But
think it's making it better for it though. I think we're getting more confident playing it because we're getting more
But trying to develop those new tracks that you get set in that half an hour set where you're playing various gigs, and you get quite a run of gigs with that half an hour that you don't then tend to have a lot of time to write new stuff.
Yeah.
So we're quite keen on having the occasional break to think, right, we need to concentrate on things, because you can get stuck in a little bit of a hole.
And would it literally be the case that if you played your half-hour set that you've got and somebody demanded an encore, are you stuck for it?
Thanks anyway.
So it's going to be so again.
Well, we have got some more tracks that are getting there, aren't we? We've got a couple more tracks in the pipeline, so that we can push that set forward. And if there is a little bit of an encore at one point, we can play other tracks. Really.
Never happened. Fortunately, we've never been asked to return to play any.
I'm not sure. And what inspires songs in you? What's your process of putting songs together? Is it a joint thing, or does one person start it off?
The way it seems to be working at the moment, and it seems to be continuing this way, is Ollie comes up with like a 1 minute, 1.5 minute idea, which involves some drums and a few notes, a few synthy notes, like a little bit like So with the waves and the first few keys, and that's it. I'll write a little riff around that and start thinking of vocals. I'll record something and send it back. That then gets extended and goes to me and Rich, and then we start trying to make it some form of song.
So you do it kind of remotely over the internet?
Yeah, we found
it's really it's really sad, isn't it? The soul of music is just not. It's the way the way it works at the moment. Then we take it all into the practice room and decide why it doesn't work, and if it needs more of this, or a break there, or a bit of this. Then we back to bass. But luckily now we've kind of got a couple of laptops. We've got Logic. We can kind of take the recording software into the practice room now, so we can kind of do things on the fly, whereas before you'd meet up, realise what was wrong, and then all scuttle off home and fix it. But
have another go and then come back.
Yeah, and we do sometimes throw it in the mix. There have been a couple of songs that we just turn up to rehearsal and we just play and jam, and it works quite well when we come up with some tracks.
Yeah, I think the earlier stuff was written that way.
Yeah,
the newer stuff is a bit more.
Yeah, but it's nice to have the time at home that you can concentrate on it, so that the time in the rehearsal room is well spent.
Yeah.
To hammer it out, really, so to speak.
Because it's usually not cheap. And what about lyrics? At what point do they come in?
Pretty much straight away, I'd say. As soon as I've got Ollie's little snippet, I'll either go with a lyric idea or a tiny little bit of guitar hook and vocals. Well, lyrics are quite important to me, so that's the first thing I would think of to try and get we're conscious of hooks. When we first started writing, we just didn't have any choruses, didn't have any hooks, and we realised they were pretty boring songs. So we
And I'm sorry, I'm going to say so. So, almost immediately, Ollie sends you something. Does that kind of evoke a lyric in your head? Does it conjure something up in your head?
I'll play it over again, and I'll probably go through some. It's bad as well. I'll go through some lyrics I've written previously, and kind of start seeing if something, a little line from somewhere just fits. Or one time he'll send me. The file will be called something like Sleep Tight. It was called Sleep Tight because I think you wrote it when you were putting your daughter to bed. So Sleep Tight. So I was like, Sleep Tight. We'll make that the chorus. We'll call it Sleep Tight, and we'll write around that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, normally it's just old lyrics.
But then we tend to we pull sections out of it as well, don't we? Really, we think actually that's quite that hook on that, and just draw that from it.
We're trying to get more conscious of that.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, could we ask you to do us a couple of songs?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a difficult one.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is the first song we ever wrote, so we should know it pretty well.
Get my Bon Tempi.
I know yourself, oh, I see you flourish. You paint your lips like a bright red furnace. Bury your face in your hands as you wonder. We treat your car like a steel umbrella. Never sure on how your mind mind made decisions, mixing every other drink with your feelings, just to get away from smoke-filled settings. You chose a lover who was here for the weekend. You chose a lover who was here for the weekend. You chose a lover who was here for the weekend. You chose a lover who was here for the weekend. I was a boy obsessed with reassurance. You slept alone with my words under blankets. I swore in scripture and prayed to the spirits. I sang the hymns. Is anybody listening? Never sure on how your mind made decisions. You're mixing every other drink with your feelings, and just to get away from smoke-filled settings, you chose a lover who's here for the weekend. You chose a lover who's here for the weekend. You chose a lover who's here for the weekend. Chose a lover who's here for the weekend.
Right.
Cheers.
Are you good for another one straight away?
Straight
or?
off,
Yes,
wow.
Oh,
What's this one? Carnival.
This is that's not a proper name, is it? But it's
Oh yeah.
no, that was the
This
file
is-
name it come down as. Wasn't it?
This is a yeah. That's the file name it came out as. This song's not even written yet, but
called anything.
we can kind of do it acoustic. So this has never been done before. Well, live anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You wear your camera like a necklace. Can we develop what has left us? Am I the lesser of two evils? Are you the devil in the details? We can't take, we can't take this. We can't take, we can't take this. No, 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 no. Well, if you're tired of your old place, put all your records in a suitcase. Times we kiss the cracks in our lips, fingertips, opportunities missed. We can't take, we can't take this. We can't take, we can't take this. No, 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 no. No, no. If you ever feel alone,
If you ever feel,
if you ever feel alone, if you ever feel, if you ever feel alone, the mirror and your bones. No, 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 no. no. When you became the horizon, the only thing I laid eyes on, I can't take, we can't take this. No.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great. So that's a world exclusive for us.
It is.
Yeah.
You've had your first EP out. How long did that take you to put together?
Recording or writing or...
More of the recording side of it, because presumably you got the songs written and then you...
Yeah, well...
It was pretty much in a weekend, wasn't it?
It was one weekend down in Suffolk. We went,
right.
did a Saturday and a Sunday, did 4 songs. So we soon learned it was very
quick.
ambitious and very rushed. Cause the end result wasn't quite what we wanted, but it was enough.
Yeah.
We basically just wanted some songs out so we could start getting some gigs, because we had Lover for the weekend out and that was it. So we just felt that we were applying for things and people were asking for, can we hear something, and we didn't have anything, so it's a bit of a vicious circle. We wanted to go out playing, but we didn't have.
The frustrating thing is as well, you record something and you think, you know what, that could have been a lot better. And I think as any artist, you sometimes look back on things and you think that still could have been better. And I think it's a continual learning curve. You think, I've learned something from that. We won't do it that way again. We'll do it a different way. And whichever way we looked at it, it was proactive. But yeah, we definitely needed something out there, really, didn't we?
But it was still happy.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, we're still, I mean.
And that's part of the way your music just evolves, isn't it? As
you
look back at
I
something.
think you've got to move on. Like you've done your EP. It's what it is. What it is.
Yeah.
And then we've recorded a new song, and then that song there is going to be the next one recorded. So we're already kind of now we're going to do it song after song rather than going in for a weekend and try and do 4 or 5. It's just we didn't work that way.
But it wasn't a case of we were concerned about the tracks going on there. We love the tracks that are on there. It was if we just took more time, really, wasn't it? Really, but.
And as you have those early songs, do you fine-tune them and change them slightly as you work with them live? Or
You're exactly right. With the songs on the EP now,
I would. They sound the same, but they're definitely live. I'd say
we've changed them or extended them, or
you put more into it, and I think it's like what you said earlier. Where do you ever get bored of anything that you're playing? You do a little bit, but I think you just slowly learn to adapt it a little bit. Where you think, you know what, I'm a bit bored of playing that bit in there. I'm going to change that a little bit. Not that he messed it up, but just to sort of entertain it a little bit for yourself and give that live sound, really.
I think we're still learning as well as a band, because we used to go on, play one song, look awkward, say thank you. Play the next song, look awkward, say thank you. Yeah. Whereas now, the more you play with other bands, the more you learn. Every time we play, we learn something, especially with some of the bigger bands we're playing with. Yeah. You're like, God, we should do that. Oh, why don't we do that?
Yeah.
And, we start rolling songs in, giving us breaks to talk rather than constantly just looking awkward and looking around to the drummer and asking him to click the next song in. So I think it's only been a year, we're still learning. And
those are 2 very interesting points, actually. I think a band has to learn, doesn't it? I don't think anybody can get up on stage
there's playing and there's performing, and we used to just get out there and play. Yeah. There's no concept, and then you watch other bands and you think they've got it's all not choreographed, but they know what they're doing. Yes. And we needed to be a bit more clever, especially with our MIDI, because we're waiting for someone to trigger. We can't just go into a song. Because a lot of it is done to click. So
it's fourth member, really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, the other point you mentioned about watching other bands, that amazes me that you'll get bands that'll come along to a gig, do their set, and then bugger off. And not only are bands sometimes not very good at going to gigs, but the gigs they are at, they don't watch, and as you say, the stagecraft, there's got to be things you can pick up from any band.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, learning from sound guys, learning from other bands, watching them set up, just looking at the gear they've got.
And to guys afterwards, and
we did one gig, it was 2, wasn't it? And I think we're watching some of the bigger bands that were playing there, really, and we were there quite early and watching how they were setting up and how their sound guy works and how their engineer goes through everything and specific, and the amount of stuff that you do learn from that as well. And I don't think we're not an arrogant band. We know we've got a lot to learn. We know we've got to pick up a lot of things from that. And I think just take from people that are in a position that you can learn from, really. Don't think that you do know everything, because you just don't.
And Ollie mentioned a good point about talking to the other bands. I presume if you've got a band that comes in from out of town, it's going to be a great way to network. And
some like to talk to, some some sound check, go away, come back at 10 o'clock, play their set, and then you never see them again.
Yeah.
But some bands will watch the other bands, and
It's nice.
But
Isn't it?
it is.
but I can understand. We were a bit annoyed when we first started playing with big bands, and they weren't around, and we were like, oh, that's nice. But then one time we headlined, and we were there at 6 o'clock, sound checked, and then watched 4 bands, and then went on. And we were just exhausted.
Yeah.
Like we watched 4 bands. I was tired, and we got up. And I think you were there that night at the Firebug, and I thought it was probably one of our worst gigs. And we said, like, if we're ever at the end again, we need to just go out for a little bit.
And I think
take
if you're
our
a
minds
band
off
that's
it.
got a big tour on that as well, and if you're doing a big tour where you've
Yeah.
got a few weeks of night after night after night, and you think you start to understand a little bit that it's not as simply as a case of just, okay, we will hang around. But yeah, we found that a bit frustrating for a start, didn't we?
I think there's definitely
We're quite-
enjoyment in learning as well. We've once we've learned something, we get quite excited. It's like, that's how they do that. That's great. We can do that now, sort of thing. And there's kind of like it's like levels, isn't it? Like you get so far, you're like, oh, brilliant. What's the next thing, sort of
But
thing.
we're quite a sociable band as well.
Yeah,
I think really.
It's expensive as well because we just keep buying new gear. Every band you see, it's like, right, I need to buy that. I need to do that. I need to get that. It's a very expensive hobby.
I thought you were going to say we keep buying beer.
Luckily, the guys at Red Stripe provide. No, they don't.
It's lemonade, really.
Have you quite consciously tried to expand maybe your fan base, I guess, but your experience of playing outside of Leicester? Because you have played quite a lot around the country, haven't you?
Tried a little bit, didn't we?
We have tried to extend out. I mean, we've had a few gigs in Manchester, Sheffield, Derby, some of the usual places around there, really, because I think it's important to expand out. It gets a little bit frustrating because you do sometimes have to, you're kind of expected sometimes to take your own fan base with you, and I think as a band that's starting out, you expand out to trying to attract that crowd in those specific areas, and it's difficult to bring that crowd with you. But yeah, we're doing all
I think we wanted to do it for the experience because we didn't want to get offered a gig somewhere and we've never been out of our comfort zone of the Cookie or the Soundhouse and you've just turned up. We just wanted to drive there, get there, set up, play.
It's the experience, isn't
Yeah.
it?
We had a really good experience in Manchester, a terrible experience in Sheffield, but there were still experiences nonetheless. And
So tell us a bit more about that. What was good and what was terrible?
Well, Manchester was just the venue was brilliant, the sound was fantastic. They had so much time for us to set up and, go on, have another go. Whatever sound check you want to do.
Yeah.
What do you want through your monitors?
What do you want through your vocal? Oh, do you like this? Do you want this? And it was all like...
Couldn't do enough for you, absolutely. Do you want some drinks at the bar? No problem at all, we'll get you those in. Whereas Sheffield was a little bit, what are you doing here? We're in the band, are you sure?
That's Lancashire and Yorkshire.
And we felt like, halfway through the set at one point, they kind of came up to us and like, 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So we
one of the other bands didn't turn up, so we got pushed around in our set list as well.
Yeah.
So
sorry about that.
It's like Close Encounters.
they've come.
So come on, let's have the names. What was the good one? What was it in Manchester?
That was Carson's bar.
Carson's
I think
bar,
it's
yeah.
Middleton.
I've heard
so
of that,
it's,
yeah.
Really sound, actually.
we pulled up and we weren't sure. We were like, what's this? And then we walked in. It was just
Brilliant.
loved it.
Well, you find that now, don't you? Some of the pubs you go to, I've been to the Hare and Hounds in Birmingham a few times, and you look at that from the outside and you think it's a really old tiles on the building kind of pub, and yet it's got 2 fantastic venues inside.
And it was a big venue as well, wasn't it, really? Capacity, it's quite a lot of people you can get in there, really.
So were you the first band on?
Yes.
There was an acoustic guy and we were second, weren't we? But we seemed to go down all right as well, really, which was quite nice, really. We were quite a receptive crowd.
So because that must be one of the frustrations. You go to a gig out of town, I would imagine it's particularly an issue, and the people really have come to see the headliner, and quite often they don't come to see the support. See, at that one you've got quite a good crowd.
That's happened to us a few times, I think, where we've played quite well, and then you come off, and then the next band go on, and halfway through their set, people start coming in, and you're like, I just wish like we could have played some people. But
then it's happened the other way as well. When we played the O2. And it was like they were literally queuing up, and we were
obviously not for us.
And it was, but it was that total opposite thing, wasn't it? Of like, right, we've got loads of people to play for now.
Yeah.
So,
but it's strange because
we weren't. That was a massive. I think that was the turning point of us starting to be a bit more confident, because it was so not scary, but it was just new to us. The next gig we had was at the Cookie, and that seemed like. I mean, we loved the Cookie. It was great, but that seemed like. It was a walk in the park because we just played at the O2 with loads of people.
Was it the Scholar Bar?
Yeah.
And a good crowd turned up for you as well.
Really good crowd, yeah.
Oh god, yeah, they were queuing. I think they were queuing It was for coasts. It was
Oh yeah.
the,
Coast and
the
clubs,
main
wasn't it?
band
Yeah.
and clubs who were good as well.
Yeah. How did you get that gig?
Well, there's a
We
lot-
got asked.
Andy Wright.
We've been really lucky with
Yeah,
a couple
Andy
of
Wright.
and
It was-
Andy. He's-
Yeah,
Andy Wright.
We
yeah,
played with
yeah,
Eka
yeah.
with him as well. That was our first
All
like big
Twins.
gig. All twins through him as well. He seems to
Yeah.
get us the decent gigs.
yeah,
Thank
which
you.
is-
But
Thank you,
But it's
Yeah.
fitting on a set with people that it's similar styles of music as well, really, which works.
He's always
well.
put us on.
Yeah.
But I told him that at the cookie. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if he remembers, but I just
Yeah.
said like he always gives us the best gigs. To be fair.
Mm.
Would you say it needs to be a suitable style, or
Yeah.
could it be more a complementary style? You don't want bands who sound too similar,
Too
do you?
similar,
I
No.
guess so. Yeah, I guess it's a
I
good
think
point,
you've got to
actually.
stand out as a band. You've got to have your unique sound, but with
Yeah.
that slight little twist that when you listen to the rest of the band, you think, yes, I can understand
Same
why
way.
you're all working together, really. It's
Yeah.
a very similar sound, but you're all quite unique on what you do.
Yeah.
I think it's when you've got completely different styles of music where it just doesn't work. And as somebody watching, you think, oh, yeah, I watch that band and I will go because I just don't like that style of music. If you can fill a venue with 3 or 4 bands that are very similar styles, I think you've got more chance of keeping
Well, yeah,
everybody
because
in
you've
for
got
that.
fans that will.
Yeah, and you think, actually,
you know,
I like that
each
style of
other,
music.
yeah,
I will stop.
hopefully, yeah, that's
Really.
definitely.
And how important is it to you when you're at a gig and you do, well, I suppose at any gig, to have that bit of merchandise to your EP to give away?
We've not quite.
We're not really getting on top of that yet. We're getting there, aren't we? It
Yeah.
seems to.
So you've been at gigs
I-
where people have asked for an EP
I'm
and
really
you haven't had them with you?
Yeah,
I'm
and
keen
then-
to
and
give
then
them.
the
I'm keen
opposite.
to give them away. I'll
Yeah.
give them away for nothing. But
Yeah.
the lads are like, come on, we need to.
That's a
start
tricky one,
selling
isn't it?
them."
Because giving them away, people have got
Harsh
it,
ones,
It's-
yeah.
but you don't want to
But
devalue it.
I
by
did find one in the on the cistern at the cookie on the toilet. And I was like, I don't know if that's been left there by mistake or if that's like a dirty
It's
process.
only because they're drunk.
Just
To run out of toilet paper. Okay.
I was annoyed.
no.
They've got the-
It's good for a scraping tool.
Just like for somebody who's walking uncomfortably after using it for that.
No, I think it's good to have that merchandise there. And saying that, I mean, it's good to give them away because I think at this stage it's just about getting that people to hear your music. So in whatever way that you can possibly do that, really, it's good as a kind of breaking band to kind of make some money back on what your kind of costs are because you do end up spending an absolute fortune. But I think you've got to speculate to accumulate a little bit.
How many, or you don't have to say exactly, but what sort of a run did you go for with your first batch of E EPs?
How many did we get?
3.
Was it?
It was. I think it was 100. Or was it 200?
It was either 100 or 200. I think it was 100.
And
No,
did you
but-
print those off yourselves?
We got
No, it's-
no. They're quite nice. You've seen? They're quite nice, like
Did you
digipack
bring one?
ones.
That's really sure.
Yeah, we got someone online.
Yeah, nice though.
Yeah,
they were-
they
yeah.
look smart. They
Yeah.
look smart. And they were printed.
I think I got mine online with the...
You can download it on Bandcamp
Oh, right,
as
yeah.
well
Yeah.
for kind of a slightly.
Should have
cheaper
seen me,
price.
Trevor. I would just give it to you for free. Just go to him.
So if
Don't
you
go
ever
to him. Don't go to him.
If you ever come to a gig, just go
I
and see
didn't, I didn't say I paid for it.
If you come to a gig, don't come see me and Ollie because
Oh, and a drink.
Just before we ask you to do one more song, how did you come across Suffolk? Did you know somebody at the studio, or did you think let's get away from Leicester?
yeah, I think that was
Yeah, we
part
wanted
of
to
it.
get away for the weekend.
Yeah.
To do
Yeah.
it like as if it was a bit of a road trip.
Mm.
Just
We wanted a bit of our time.
we don't get that much time. To the three of us, don't hang out very like bands. There's some bands will hang out all the time.
Yeah.
We don't get to do that very often. So
Yeah.
I think we wanted to make it like we'd go.
Yeah.
The place we went to had on-site like accommodation as well, which was
Ah,
a
yeah.
bonus. So we wouldn't have to get hotels and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking.
and it was a lovely place, really nice.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Is there a butt coming?
It's just we didn't have to. It was just
Well, it was the
Didn't have enough time.
Halloween thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was just the respect from your fellow bandmates when it comes to respecting your elders with superior bedding and stuff like that. And there's little stories and stuff like that come from it. But I think I won't dwell on that too much. I'll just keep bringing it up. But I think it was just nice that we could just sort of lock ourselves away for that little time and that
Yeah.
little session and stuff and get a good night's sleep.
Not.
And then crack on the next
I did
day and
say,
just get
when
on
I
with
got
it.
there, and I snored. You know, when I got there, I
It's a
said,
sleeping bear, mate. It's a sleeping bear.
This is getting close to too much information here. Okay, could we
Sorry.
ask you to do another song for us, please?
yeah.
I'm glad you said yes. I was getting worried
I
there.
have to figure it out.
What's this
An
one?
account. So Yeah, let's go. 2, 3, 4.
Second gasp, but your first was best. Are you doubting yourself today? I confess I know emptiness. I saw you with him in a dream I made. Take your phone and the dialing code reminds you you're so far away. Should you go to lay your bones just to take up some mattress space?
So
reminds you you're so far away. Reminds you you're so far. Do you feel better now the pills kicked in? Do you feel better now you're getting sleep? Saw you with him in a dream I made. It's just a taste of your medicine. Reminds you you're so far away. Reminds you you're so far. Panic on the streets of London. Panic on the streets of Birmingham. Panic on the streets of Carlisle. Dublin, Dundee, Humberside. Reminds you you're so far. Hangs the DJ. These cars screaming sirens. Pneumatic drill and ripped up concrete. Baby wailing, stray dog howling. Screeching brakes, lamp lights blinking. That's entertainment.
Lovely.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Is that effectively your kind of signature tune?
I think it is really. I think it's the one track we've kind of done, which it just seemed to work. Really, one of those tracks that seems to just writes itself very quickly. We passed it around between ourselves, like Chris was saying, and Chris came up with vocals. Ollie started with the MIDI side of things, and obviously the bass and all the things got added afterwards. But then obviously we've drawn certain kind of callback styles to it, and it did work as a song, and it was just quite easy to write it. And I always think that's a good sign of a good song is when it's easy
came
to
naturally.
write, and it's just easy to play. It's straightforward. I wouldn't say it's one of the tracks that you think, oh, I'm bored of playing this now. But I do actually.
It can be a little bit fun. It can be.
I do quite like actually playing that one.
I enjoy that.
Yeah, I do. Because it is one of the tracks that I think is one of the main tracks we've got.
Have you ever played a set with that not in?
No.
Well, to be fair, we've got about enough songs to do a set. So if we
So they're all in.
we can drop one. And like it's like one comes in, one goes out at the minute. But we've got it's like we say, we've got a couple that are about ready to come in.
There's
So
2 or 3 on the go at the moment, and I think that will extend the set. But it'd be nice then, because then if we have the standard average for a set half an hour, we can say, I'll tell you what, we'll pull those 3 songs. Let's just change it up a little bit, because I think there's only so many times that somebody coming to watch you will think, all right,
Actually know the order of the songs.
yeah, and just think, actually take that out, change it around, turn it up a little bit, and just put something different in, just for the people that do like to come and watch it, to think, actually that's a different track, really.
Yeah. Is there I don't know, I detect a slight, almost Celtic, Irish lilt to your vocals.
I don't know. I didn't get
Has that been
at all.
mentioned before?
His
No,
vocals generally.
We've had some very weird, like, oh, you sound like this, you sound like that,
Yeah.
and I don't get half of it, but
I think we just take all of it and say, that's cool because that's
Whatever
that's
you
our
get from it.
influences are all
Yeah.
different. They've come into one. Whatever someone thinks, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because we're happy with it, aren't we? So
But I
that's-
think
that's
it's
the-
nice
that's the way.
because everybody's drawing different things
Yeah.
from it. I think if
Mm.
you're doing that, you're kind of actually you're doing something relatively okay because you kind of pulling all these different
Quite
parts from
nice.
everything that everybody likes, really.
Yeah.
And you're still quite a niche thing, but everybody's got their individual thoughts on it.
It's quite nice that no one can really put a finger down.
No,
Well,
I
probably-
wish we could.
but-
Kind of
yeah.
buttonhole you.
Especially
Yeah.
And what do you see as the future for the band?
That's it.
No, I think everybody
I think
wants
the
to
more
go
we've
somewhere.
seen bands, I think we're really aware. I think the next few songs will be, in my opinion, better than what we've got already because I think we're just a bit more, bit clever, a bit more clever about writing now. I think for a start we were finding our feet and finding our sound, and then that sounds like French Leave. I know that sounds really pretentious, but the guitar sound, we kind of got that down now. Something that we're happy, not too distorted, but not too soft, and
Yeah.
the way we write songs is starting to get down, and the way we write lyrics and stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely-
we've kind of found our feet with these 7 songs, and hopefully now we can kick on. And
Yeah.
It's getting the good supports as well. We know we're not in a position really to sort of get those big headlines because I think unfortunately as a smaller band, if you get offered a headline, it's that awkward headline where you last on the set and a lot of other bands, people disappear and you're left playing stuff
Like
because you
Midnight
haven't bring them
Slot.
in. But to get those good support slots
that's
for big
Mm.
bands like the O2 that we did and places like that where you're actually supporting the big bands and even if you're just first on really, it'd be nice to one step at a time really.
How was 110 above?
Oh, it was really good.
Awesome.
yeah,
Great
so much
bands,
better than the
great
first.
bands,
So much
great-
better than the first because
Yeah.
we've been twice, so we've had
Oh,
like
right.
the 2 different ends of it. We went. We'd only been together a few months. We went and played like a 5-song set. We opened up the Sunday morning, and it was just terrible. I thought it was horrific.
Well, I think we're alright. I think it's just so nice to be put
It's
on
awful.
a festival with the bands that are named on that festival.
I just
Yeah.
don't
We're
think
being grouped with that band. I think with those bands, I think it's fantastic. It's great to see our name with those, and hopefully keep being on that festival with those sorts of names or those sorts of festivals.
What sort of crowd were you playing to at that?
I spoke to a mate and it was
good.
well. I sort of said, was it 100? He said, 75.
Yeah.
I think I was really, really happy with that. Yeah.
And a
It
good
was all
reaction
terrible,
from
but-
them?
Yeah.
Good.
You
Yeah,
did,
yeah, really good.
And
yeah.
it's a good festival because it's not trying to run before it can walk. It's a good festival. It has some good bands on it. It's really
Yeah,
good bands on
yeah,
it, doesn't
yeah.
it, really?
Yeah.
It's not a massive festival, but that's quite nice
That's
because
quite
it's
nice.
quite compact,
That's it,
really,
that's it,
with it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
when you're watching a band, people do go and watch that band as well, really. You
Yeah.
don't just wander off. And it's a good
Yeah, it's set
festival.
up well because there's 2 stages.
Yeah.
So the main stage, the set, and then
Yeah.
they start setting up the next band, and then you
Yeah.
go and watch the
So,
TP.
Oh, so you can alternate
you,
between the
you,
two?
You don't really miss a band, which
Oh,
is
that's good.
because there's some good bands on both.
Amazing.
I
Yeah.
think Jaws were on, weren't
Who
they?
were?
Jaws were on.
And
yeah.
Surf from
Surf.
Leicester
So
were
Surf,
off,
we
yeah.
played. We played with
I
those
watched
guys.
Surf on
Yeah.
Sunday morning. They were great.
Yeah,
Mm.
Lisbon.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
But
I
yeah,
watched
look-
Lisbon on Sunday. There's so
Yeah.
many good bands.
It was. We
brilliant.
did get some good feedback as
Yeah.
well, which is nice, really, because we're always. I think as a band, you like to think that somebody can sort of say, I really like that, and we got a lot of good support from family and friends. But it's just nice to get some strange person, some
Somebody
different
hasn't
person
seen
say,
you
you know
before."
what, I really like that what you
Yeah.
were doing, and I just think it goes a long way. And we did have a few people
Shake
who
a
were
hand.
slightly intoxicated. And
Yeah.
You got stopped by a man at
I
like
did got stopped. Yeah, are you in that band? Which band?
maybe.
But it
Yeah,
was
but
good.
it was nice.
Yeah, it was
Nice to
good.
get that feedback, really.
Yeah. What else have you got coming up over the summer? I think you're back here at the Soundhouse quite soon, aren't you?
Yeah, July.
Yeah.
July the 11th with
Lisbon.
With Lisbon.
Oh, yeah. If I was on the camera, I'd zoom in on that.
Yeah. Which I'm really excited about that because like I say, saw them play on Sunday and they were fantastic. So
Yeah.
that's going to be cool.
When's that?
11th of July, and then
Make sure I
23rd of
relate it.
July at the Pie Bar
Oh, yes.
with a Scottish band called Rebel
Rebel
Western, and they sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. They've been on BBC introducing up there, I think, so they're doing all right.
Well, we've not played Pie before, have we?
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you've played pretty much everywhere else. in
Yeah.
Just
Leicester,
I
haven't
think
you?
it's just the donkey and pie left,
Yeah.
and then we've ticked everything. And we can move on.
Yeah,
And have you any more festival slots?
We've got one. We've got called Lodestar, which is in September. Is it the 4th?
Is that Cambridge?
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
4th,
Yeah.
5th and 6th of September.
And they Load, which is it's a little bit bigger, really. We're quite looking forward to that, really, because there's going to be some quite good bands on that as well. Shortlisted for a few other things, but not really going to say a great deal about that, really, because if we don't, we just don't know.
Exactly.
So that's a possible Simon Says.
Possible, but.
I mean,
I wasn't going
Well,
to
that was
say that,
difficult
but
to
now
prize
you're
out
saying
of him,
that,
wasn't
Trevor.
it?
First I've heard it.
Yeah. So whoever puts Simon Says together, there's a
Yeah,
possibility.
that'd be nice, yeah.
That'd be nice. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, they had Catfish in the Bottom last year.
Public service broadcasting.
Yeah, so
yeah,
some
yeah.
good bands, really.
Yeah.
They've got
The main stage looks amazing, and
Looks
luckily
awesome.
I think we're on the main
We're
stage.
opening main stage on the Saturday,
Oh, right.
Yeah,
so
it's
that'll be absolutely
really good.
amazing.
Looks good.
really
Looks good.
excited for that, and I think because we're like getting that bit more confidence now,
Yeah.
it's starting to be those sorts of things are starting to become exciting, aren't
Mm.
they? They're not like
As daunting as they were.
daunting as they were.
Mm.
We don't get the 10 minutes before I don't want to be here.
If the- we have a bit of a team talk before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just slap each other.
Yeah.
Just tick each other off a little bit. Come on.
But it's becoming, and I think that's helping because we can be like we are in the practice room, which we always say is like
That's the best we play.
we're best we play. We always say, I wish people could just have a little spy camera here because they'd be like, our band are all right.
That's when you're good.
Yeah.
What's your take on music generally nowadays? Do you think it's a saturated market? It's been killed by digital, or?
I think you choose where you want to go, and then you go there, and that's where, and then you can explore.
Yeah.
I think it's more about the person who's exploring. They can see or listen to. They get into a sound and they can then explore that sound, that type of band, and then people that are sort of similar. I think that's the way it's working, and I don't think.
No, I'm probably going to show that I'm probably a little bit older than 20. But I remember the times when you used to take vinyl.
Yeah.
And you used to sell. Back in the day, not that long ago. Yeah, I am only about 28.
You can still buy it.
But you'd sell the vinyl to the shop, and the shop would sell the vinyl. And don't claim this. I'm not the dad. It's okay. And it was a different kind of era, really. And again, I was dragged up through the 90s, and there was a lot of good bands, but a lot of niche underground bands, really. That it was unless you bought that vinyl.
It's
you
probably
didn't
easier to
know
find about them.
And it was difficult, but unless you were really kind of probing into that band and you thought, I've heard of that band, I'll try and find them out. Whereas everything's readily available, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It is a good thing.
Like you say.
I just think it's really easy for bands to put together some kind of semi-professional front where you think, whereas back in when I was growing up, one band kind of linked you to another band that linked you to another band, whereas now if you go on Spotify and you start trying to link bands to bands to bands, it's
I think
you can get a little bit lost and a little bit.
I think that's what you're saying at the end of the day.
I think if you find the bands that kind of play together,
yes.
that if you find like you go and see a band and the support act, like you kind of see a bit like 110 Above, because they have the same. We played last year and a lot of the same bands came again this year, but they just moved on so much. Like Youth Club,
up the game.
they played in the second tent and like we loved them, and then this year they've had a massive year. We've kind of followed them and like through Facebook and watched what they've been doing, and it's like now they're like they're playing some huge gigs and seem to be doing pretty well. So it's nice to see the same kind of band and who plays with who. Oh, they're playing with them. Oh, they're with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people do as well, because I go to gigs and I'll go to see the main act. You've bought a ticket to see them, but then you're like, who's gonna? I mean, I'm someone who shows up. I want to stay up at the start and watch
all the
support
bands,
to see who they are, because I'm like,
they're bound to have a good support.
Yeah, exactly. So,
But it's promotion as well, really, because there are a lot of sites like Spotify's and things like that, but you could have the greatest track in the world, but unless you publicise it in a really specific way, it will sit there and never really get played. And the only kind of advertising you've got is probably like through your Facebooks and your SoundClouds and everything like that. Unless you've got other companies that you pay on board to push that, again, then it's lots of extra money.
I always like to believe if the song's good enough, someone will hear it and then go, you've got to hear this.
Yeah.
Someone will go, you send it to their mates, or like, you've got to hear this band. Because
that's
the way we used to be like, have you heard of these? And it was almost like a competition to find the next band. Have you heard of these? No, you've not heard of these. And it's like, you need to listen to this.
You've not heard of these?
I don't know if kids do that anymore.
But you've got to have that good track, otherwise you're just trying to sell a cucumber. Really. It just doesn't work like that. I don't know.
Does it worry you that there is just so much music out there that it's great that people can make music and there is great music out there, but as a band, you must think, it's a real jungle. How do we stand out, or are you just happy playing the music and what happens happens.
I like the music. I've always enjoyed my music. I like playing.
I think that was the one thing that we said. I think we're not totally unique, but we're not exactly in the box, are we? So I think that we were able to. I hope that we stand out a bit because we're not.
There's opportunity to if you wanted to as an artist now, where you could as an artist sit in the comfort of your own recording studio and do it all yourself and release it all digitally. You don't need anybody else. You never really even play it live. You get people in to play it. And I think, like we're saying, it's just getting that niche little market with some really good songs that we do also like playing it. We like playing live. We like standing on stage, and we like playing what we actually do because we do enjoy doing it.
I think there's probably, this sounds terrible, but I think there's almost a little too many gigs on as well in Leicester. And I just think it can be a little diluted to when you go and see a band. There's like, sometimes you play in a gig and you're like, oh, so-and-so are playing there, and did you realise you're playing there tonight? And it's like, Jesus, like there's 4 pretty good gigs on.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what? And do you want like a night where there's a buzz around it once a month? So you're like, oh, that night, or at the Cookie or at the Soundhouse, that is your night where you go. You're guaranteed to have 2 good bands on. But a lot of promoters, a lot of nights, and you feel like
venues,
a lot of bands. So it's like
a lot of music.
Yeah.
It's just, there is a lot.
It's great if you love music and you love going to gigs, but. Does it ever create a buzz and a night where everyone goes to it? Probably not, but
I think there is that danger of diluting, and I think you mentioned that it's very accessible now, music. But I just worry that there is a big disconnect with people will listen to music online and through their iPods or whatever, but they don't seem to be coming out to gigs in the same kind of numbers.
No, they don't at all. I mean, I've always loved music, like I keep saying, really, to go out to a gig where there used to be absolutely rammed, the venues that you'd go to, really, and it'd be word of mouth more than anything, go and see that band, and the place would be absolutely crowded, really. Whereas nowadays, like you say, it is just so much easier to stream something down that, they're okay, they're all right.
But the other week, I came down here to see Andrew Jackson Jihad, and the place was absolutely rammed, queuing outside. Obviously, they came over from America, pretty big band. But it kind of restores your faith in when there is a big band on, the people will come. I mean, it's just, I was a bit hit and miss whether people would be waiting outside or whether it'd be a bit of a slow burner, but it was such a good night. And you think, well, if you're good enough, people will turn up.
It's getting to that stage, isn't it, really?
So in a sense, it's catching those big gigs, even though there are lots of other ones on. You want to be at the big ones.
I think your music's got to be good enough to warrant getting the support acts, and then warrant stealing other people's fans. Like, you play with these big, Coast could have been our massive chance to absolutely nail a set, and everyone that was there who liked Coast would probably go, they were brilliant. But we didn't. So you've got to take your opportunities, and if your songs aren't good enough, then
opportunity. Definitely.
But we learned so much from that night.
I think that was just,
it was a bit
we were nervous. It's a massissive thing, but we still enjoyed it. Still a great experience.
You've got to start somewhere, really, and you've got to start with those basic experiences.
And I mean, as long as you learn, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but if you weren't happy with the set, as long as you learn from that, then you gain something from it.
I think it's confidence in your own music as well, really. I think there was one point where we were like, is this something that people like? And I think that was, from a personal note, we've come up with some really good tracks, and you stood there playing and you think, are we going down okay?
Yeah.
Really, it's just that kind of, people listen to it and come up to you asking, I really enjoyed that. And it just, for me, that means
restores
quite
your
a lot,
faith in
really.
humanity.
It does, yeah.
Well, I think Chris is trying to tell us we need to wrap up here, which is clever because we are running time-wise. Just before we ask you to play your final song, what is coming up in terms of the EP? When would that possibly come out? Early next year?
I think we might be doing single releases, like quarterly. Sounds like we've signed a quarterly. We're looking at releasing a track pretty soon.
Yes.
Before we play Lodestar.
I think it's just got to be massive.
Which is this track we're going to play now. So
all right.
It won't sound like this, but and then we're going straight back in to record the next song. And I think we're going to stagger the releases, and because it's affordable, because we like to go and get them done properly.
And it seems like music, people don't want to listen
and people,
to an
album. Albums have died. EPs.
Are you going back to Suffolk?
No.
All right.
No. We're recording in in Leicester.
I think we should give him a shout out because I think it's absolutely.
Does he want a shout?
I don't know whether he should we. I don't know.
Does he want to?
Dave Tidmarsh.
Tidmarsh, Dave Tidmarsh.
Awesome.
Very good. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
he's
play
probably
it.
sick of us, but we like him.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
We do.
We'll play it to you.
We love you, Dave, if you're
bit.
watching. I do.
Lovely. Well, I'll just say a big thanks again to you guys for coming along tonight.
Thank you.
It's been lovely talking to you and listening to your music. Thanks to Bab and Joe for sorting out the audio.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks to the Soundhouse for the venue and to Greg for helping us out with it. And French Leave, play us out. Thank you very much.
I know yourself, oh, I see you flourish. You paint your lips.
No.
It's the wrong song.
That's not even our new song.
You remind me of distance, bridges to be crossed, a sea of something lost, washed up in my arms. Don't fall in love, both your knees are cut, still reeling from the drop. Wishing I would stop, but your head over, head over. Wishing I would stop, your head over heels. Wishing I would, your head over. Wishing I would stop, head over. Let's paint you a new cloud. You have your shadow, hit your mark. Well, our bodies on meltdown ever since I warmed your heart. Truth is the comfort tied up in your arms. Your name is the bombshell lying in my lungs. Head over, wishing it would stop. Head over heels, wishing it would. Head over, wishing it would stop. Head over. There's frost upon the bench, freer than your cigarettes. Our love is such a pity, your head over. There's frost upon the bench, freer than your cigarettes. Our love is such a pity, your head over, head over. Head over heels, your head over, head over heels.
Hey, thank you very much.
We got that in.
World exclusive. Thanks, guys. That was really good.
Lovely.